Welcome to the show, Byungsoo.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here. I mean, I've been talking about AI more and more over the last year or two, but recently I've had some guests on the show with some different opinions and insights as to the acceptance and uptake of AI within the industry. And so it's really made me think. And so I am really looking forward to getting your perspective today. So let's just dive right in. Let's start by learning about your founder story. This question is quickly becoming one of my favorites because the answers are always so inspiring. I mean, you've worked at a couple of fascinating high tech brands before founding Motion2AI. What did you do? What did you learn? And how did you see a gap in the market? Take us on that journey.
Yeah, sure. So over the more than last 10 years, I've spent and then I've worked on applying the high technology into the industrial domain, such as augmented reality and autonomous driving. For example, I've applied augmented reality for the warehouse management
Hmm.
or for construction. And yeah, those two startups I worked before, yeah, they got acquired by Snapchat and GN Cruise, yeah, which was kind of great exit. And overall, I am always very excited about all new opportunities on the cross section between those cutting edge technologies and the industrial domain. And especially, what I'm super excited is about the growth of the warehouse vehicle, and then how technologies are getting more and more involved for those material handling equipment. But at the same time, what I see is not every player, not every warehouse is taking advantages from those technology. And
Right.
actually, I'm very happy that Motion to AI I can help and support them.
Absolutely. I mean, warehousing is becoming really a strategic advantage in a lot of supply chains. Sometimes we can't find the real estate right now because e-commerce is growing so quickly. And I think AI is quickly becoming a good solution to really be to help with that. And so we're going to talk a little bit more as to how people can get started with that a lot more quickly than I think they think they can. But before we move on, I want to just ask you about your experience as a startup.
Mm,
I talk about this quite often on my Woman in Supply Chain series
mhm,
because women and other diverse voices,
mhm,
they often struggle to achieve funding, for example, but you've
mhm.
grown really quickly in under 3 years. What's your secret? How did you do it?
Yeah. First of all, yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, that's actually not a secret at all. So yeah, we are just having very strong team, having the excellent background from a top industry in engineering and logistics, such as
Hmm.
Microsoft, Google, UPS, and DHL. Yeah,
Wow.
we are just working together. At the same time, kind of we are working together with many excellent customer. Some of them are kind of direct warehouse operators. Some of them are 2PL, 3PL, and yeah, all of them they are desperately looking for improving their productivity. So I think the quick answer is, yeah, we have the good technology. Yeah, we are working with excellent customer. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I think also building the right team, right? You were talking about
Mhm,
the engineers from a variety of different backgrounds, all
mhm.
bringing sort of those innovative perspectives.
Yeah, absolutely. Mhm,
Great. I love to hear that because team and culture are really the foundation to any great company. And so,
mhm.
what is it exactly that Motion to AI does? How do you help your customers? Give us an overview before we take a little deeper dive.
Yeah, so we are providing very practical solution with our AI technology. So specifically, we support data-driven warehouse management with our AI IoT sensor. So
Great.
we have the AI IoT sensor, which is called the Motion Kit. So it is camera-based edge sensor, and nice thing about it is it's vehicle agnostic and then the environment agnostic. So in other words, you can attach our sensor to any of your existing forklift or utility cart, and we are taking care of the all the rest of the challenges in terms of data driven management. For
Hmm.
example, we just provide the WMS integration, and then we our AI module is giving the warehouse manager all the feedback and the suggestions to make their like, a clever decision in terms of the daily operation and then further important decision making. So customers are seeing the huge ROI in a very short buyback period, typically less than 4 to 6 months.
Wow, that's incredible. And I think, one of the main things that you said there was really being able to make those clearer decisions,
Mm-hmm,
right? More
mm-hmm,
smart decisions when it comes to
mm-hmm,
warehousing. I mean, let's face it, when we take a look at a warehouse, there's lots of moving parts,
mm-hmm,
right? There's
mm-hmm,
lots of stuff coming in, there's lots of
mm-hmm,
stuff going out, and there's a
mm-hmm,
ton of activity happening in between.
mm-hmm,
And so, it really is hard to keep on top of everything, including the data that you need to be able to make those decisions.
mm-hmm.
And so, but before we take a closer look at your products and solutions, can you talk us through kind of the main challenges that the companies you're working with are facing? Am I right in saying that there's three core challenges? Why don't you talk us through those?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so data-driven management, yeah, as you can imagine, this is a super challenging problem.
Yeah,
And first of all, the size of the warehouse is a big challenge. So they are running the huge warehouses.
so
Sometimes it's
true.
more than 1 million, 2 million square feet wide.
Hmm.
And they are also working with many different types of like a vehicle from different vendor. So communicating and collaborating between those different units, that's another challenge. Yeah, finally, even if you are collecting all the data from those different equipment, it's unclear what is the best way we can apply those insights to your daily operation.
Right. Right. And you're right. I mean, one of the things that you just mentioned was that they could have a variety of different, products that they're using in the day to day from a variety of different vendors. Right. And so, how do you get them talking to each other? How do you get them collaborating? And how are you taking the data from each one of those and accumulating them into a place where you can really see everything in real time? Again, going back to making those smart decisions.
Hmm.
So we have the context, right? The
Hmm.
challenges that the customers are going through. I mean, that size challenge that you mentioned
Hmm.
is a
Hmm.
really big deal as well.
Hmm.
There's also a lot of people in a warehouse of that size as well. But you have three core products that make up
Hmm.
your Motion FMS fleet management service, which is
Hmm.
Motion Kit, Motion Studio, and Motion API. Can you talk us through each one of them? What do they do and who are they for? What do they offer?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, before I jump into each individual component, so like I just want to kind of remind that the challenge is really about the communication between all those different vehicles,
Yeah,
and what keep hearing from many of our customers that their existing warehouses are already running of tens of the traditional vehicles such as forklift and utility cars. And
mhm,
then when they are trying to bring a new system, kind of new technology into the field, now they are struggling with the communicating with the traditional vehicle and the system, as well as the communication between the traditional ones and the new ones.
right.
So that's why we are having this system, motion fleet management system and motion kit. So motion kit is a really nice way. This is because I'm just saying again and again, this is a vehicle agnostic and then AI based. So it
Mhm,
could be attached to any your traditional vehicle. So it suddenly turn your traditional vehicle into the digital connected devices
huh,
on the system so that it can keep communicating with our other robot. And motion kit is running on top of the camera based AI. So in other words, just like a human eyes, it is camera based AI algorithm, so it provides very flexible application and user experience based on your environment. So let's say if your warehouse is running organizing your packages products using the QR code, the same product, same motion kit can recognize its QR code. It understands what product you are currently handling, and then how many you are moving from here to there. And for the another warehouse, who is working with some different product, which having more like a unique pattern of its appearance, which doesn't have the typical the brown packaging for the product. The same camera with the flexible AI application, it's still working, and then it could take care of your inventory tracking application. So in other words, this IoT sensor is great to give connectivity. Yeah, and then with the lots of the AI recognition capability to collaborate with the other unit. And so installation takes less than 10 minutes per device. So it's also very easy to scale up. So if
Wow.
you are having 40 of your traditional vehicle with 10 AMR AGV, yeah, it just takes less than 2-3 days for a whole installation.
Wow.
And yeah, that is about how we are connecting your traditional fleet with the kind of this latest technology. And then now talking about the visibility. So Motion Studio is really for that. So Motion Studio is a one-stop shop web portal. So it provides real-time visibility for tens of, and we are actually supporting one warehouse who is using 150 vehicle in a one single warehouse.
Wow.
So for hundreds of vehicles, you can have a real-time monitoring the visibility on a one single screen, and it is compatible with the other robotic system as well. So if you are a manager, you can monitor and then you can collect all the data from different fleet of vehicle, yeah, in real time.
Amazing. So, we're going to have a case study a little bit later
Mhm,
on in this discussion, but I want to ask you, so if I have a fleet of forklifts that really aren't digital, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're looking at new technologies and you're looking at implementing, you don't want to have to implement new across the board, which is what you're talking about. You can
mhm,
work
mhm,
with the vehicles that they already have. So, let's take a
mhm,
traditional forklift. So
mhm,
I'm a warehouse that works with traditional forklifts. What exactly, or where would somebody start with your technology? Where would you suggest somebody starts with your technology when they have traditional forklifts, turning those into a digital
mhm,
commodity where I can create and collect
mhm,
data?
mhm. Yeah, for sure. So we have like extensive experience working with many different warehouses in different environment. So depending on your scenario, we have motion kit available in many different some option in terms of connectivity, in terms of network, in terms of the how to use the battery. So if you are, for example, depending whether your forklifts are under the rental or lease, we have a flexible model, so we can
Okay.
connect the power source from the forklift and connect the motion kit. In that way, you don't need to replace the battery every day.
Yeah.
Or some warehouses, we also have a very modular version, so you can in the beginning of the day, you just put the motion kit on the vehicle, any vehicle you want, and then at the end of the day you just put it back to the charging station, and the battery is, so this is power efficient enough, so battery lasts for a whole day long, so you just need to replace it just once a day.
Oh,
So that is,
great.
yeah,
So,
so in terms of installation, that's that easy. And we also go through the like a WMS integration and then the insight discovery together with customer. But overall, it takes just less than 4 to 6 weeks.
okay, great. Yeah, no, I like to hear that, right? You can just go over, grab something, stick it on,
Mhm.
and then instantly you have
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
kind of digital option that people are looking for. And these products really do bring so many benefits. I mean, I'm amazed at how many areas of business they touch, from warehouse to quality assurance to HR. And there's a few things I want to highlight that tie into the trends that I know the listeners are particularly interested in right now. So the first is around infrastructure and
Mhm.
integration, because they
Mhm.
are big worries for businesses. They're thinking, cost impact, time impact, but you say that with Motion 2 AI, unlike other competing technologies, expensive infrastructure is just not necessary. So
Mhm.
walk us through what that looks like. I mean, you said 6 weeks from maybe start to
Mhm.
full
Mhm.
integration.
Mhm.
Um, but tell us about what that actually looks like. Is it
Mhm.
a big
Mhm.
cost? Is a big time factor? Talk us through that.
Yeah. So we never ask customer to stop their daily operation. So that's
Okay.
really like a big plus for our installation process. So for the week one, what we do is our engineer visit customer site, and we
Mhm.
have the our proprietary 3D scanning backpack. So
Oh,
if you think about kind of Google Street View or Pokemon Go, yeah, it just look like that, but it's kind of
nice.
specialized in terms of creating digital twin of your warehouse in a day or two. I
Mhm.
mean, for a really huge warehouse.
Yeah.
So once you have that 3D digital twin of the warehouse, the installation for each motion kit just takes less than like a 10 minutes per each vehicle.
Mhm.
And yeah, as Sarah, as you highlighted, we are not installing any wired beacons on your infrastructure.
Mhm.
So in terms of cost saving, that's like a 10x, 50x cheaper than other competing like a positioning technology for the warehouses.
Amazing. I mean, you got me at 3D backpack. I mean, I
Hmm
want to see
hmm
that thing in motion and then see the
Yeah,
digital twin
yeah.
of my warehouse. I mean, that alone is just, the first step in the benefits that they're going to see with working with
Yeah.
you. But you mentioned the word visibility early on, right? It's
Mhm,
so key. And I've had a few guests recently who have really brought to life the huge impact that increased visibility can have on cost,
mhm,
spoilage, damages, inventory.
mhm,
How does your solution help? And what's your take on visibility right now? And, are businesses realizing it's much more than just a buzzword?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, actually, that reminds me like how I met this. Let's talk about supply chain. Like, actually, I met Sarah from the conference while she was talking about the visibility. So yeah, visibility is really important for your warehouse operation, and two key most important thing I would imagine is the productivity and safety. So using Motion2AI solution, when there is an accident or damage on a product,
Hmm.
warehouse manager, they can always pull the video data at any specific location for certain vehicle, certain time window
Right.
using our solution and user interface. On the other end, for productivity purpose, we are actually using the entire data we collected from MotionKit as a training data for making prediction for
Huh.
the new transaction task. So when it becomes the real time, now we have two metrics. So one prediction we built, we the machine learning predicted on top of the historical data we collected before. And then on the other end, we have a real-time sensor data. We are kind of getting in real time through the motion kit. So by comparing the baseline from machine learning and then real-time data from the sensor, we
Hmm.
are telling the warehouse operator, yeah, whether your transactions, your daily tasks are on track or things are delayed. Yeah, here are the some specific things you'd better to take a look. So it's really becoming a warehouse managing assistance.
Yeah, and you can predict, you can see what's happening. You don't have to go and scroll through hours and hours of video. It's kind of
Hmm
at your fingertips. And of course, I think I need to pick your brains around AI because it's
hmm
very quickly growing in importance, but I think there's still a lot of misunderstandings and
Mhm,
maybe often incorrect
mhm,
assumptions
mhm,
around
mhm,
it. So let's start with the relationship between people and
mhm,
AI because it's
mhm,
a big
mhm.
one, right? People are
Yeah.
worried about job loss.
Uh-huh.
People still have an image of the
Mhm, mhm,
Terminator
mhm.
in the back of their
Mhm,
minds.
mhm, mhm.
So, talk to us about the balance between the two, the
Mhm,
reality
mhm.
versus the assumption, and how you're pulling everything together at Motion 2 AI.
Yeah, that's always very interesting topic. So, uh, one thing okay, we keep hearing from our customer, like a general managers at the site, the decision maker, is that they're saying our solution is saving their time. So if you talk to like a site manager or the decision maker of 2PL, 3PL companies, yeah, they are wasting lots of their time to walk around their huge warehouse and reading the all those meters on the equipment, and they are kind of filling in all the missing data on the system, or they are kind of talking and discussing with their worker to
Right.
understand their progress. Sometimes they are bringing their cell phone to take photos for the
Hmm.
packages or facility. So our solution is automating many of those tedious steps and help those managers spend their time on more valuable, meaningful tasks such as deriving insight or applying those insights to the real application. So yeah, I would say this is more like assisting those people rather than yeah the competing against or yeah like replacing human.
Yeah, and just making their lives just that little bit easier so that they
Hmm.
can do the parts of their job that they really enjoy doing,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And I think, the second point I wanted to look at was the acceptance of an investment in
Hmm.
AI versus
Hmm.
the hype. I mean,
Hmm.
a lot of times when we hear about AI, it's about, chasing that
Hmm.
shiny coin.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, what's your view of the real picture of AI in supply
Hmm.
chain in
Hmm.
2022? Are people talking about it? Are
Hmm.
they putting their money where their mouth is? Are they
Hmm.
investing in it? Are they excited about it?
Hmm.
What's kind of your take on this?
Yeah, so there's a good analogy of AI to the like a industrial revolution, right? So industrial revolution, on the one hand, it sometimes replaced the human labor, but on the other hand, it made like the life of the human being much better, much more convenient. So just like my answer to the previous question, AI has many different aspects. So AI is really nice tool we can use. It's not
Mhm,
all just about automation. How we are using AI is for data collection and then help our people, our customer, to make it easier to discover the insights from the warehouse operation. And yeah, all those many different applications and what are the kind of further application we can apply AI. Yeah, those are all interesting topic from the AI technology perspective. So I think like yeah, we are in year of 2022, so year 2022 2023, yeah, we will see actually more number of very interesting applications who are making more practical impact to the warehouse operation and automation immediately.
hmm. Well, it's definitely something to look forward to and
Mhm,
watch
mhm,
as you move into the future with Motion to AI. But I want to ask you, who's your ideal client profile? Like, who's your ideal client? If I'm listening to this and I'm
mhm,
thinking that
mhm.
this all
Yeah,
sounds so exciting
yeah.
and right for me and my organization, who
Mhm.
am I? What do I look like?
Yeah, yeah. So like yeah, for anyone like who is listening this podcast, yeah, if you are running warehouses with tens of material handling equipment, like a forklift or utility car, yeah, just send me an email. Yeah, there's a huge productivity improvement in a short buyback period. Yeah, we can provide. Or
Absolutely.
yeah, or like if your warehouse is mixed with many different forklift with robots on top of it, yeah, we also provide a solution for safety and productivity. Yeah, so this is a vehicle agnostic, like environment agnostic. I keep repeating this words.
Yeah, and I think, if you're working with a variety of different vehicles, right, from the
Right.
traditional to the robots, and you want them all to work together, kind of sing together, right,
Mm-hmm.
provide
Mm-hmm.
data together, then
Mm-hmm.
they definitely want to pick up the phone and call you.
Mm-hmm.
So I did promise everybody a case study,
Mm-hmm.
and you have some numbers on your website. The
Mm-hmm.
percentage of operational costs saved,
Mm-hmm.
for example, which we always love.
Mm-hmm.
So bring this to life for us and give us a look at how you've worked with one of your customers. What was
Mm-hmm.
the challenge that they came to you with? Which product were they working with? And what was the impact or ROI of that solution?
Yeah, so the many of the challenges are like I mentioned earlier. So they are having a huge warehouses. And while from the technology, from the cutting edge technology and from the market, there are some automated solution for certain area of the warehouses. But many of the other areas, such as the warehouses dealing with the bulky packages, the warehouse for cross docking, yeah, they are currently lack of the right technology they can use immediately.
Hmm.
So we are solving those challenges together with our customer.
Hmm.
And interestingly, customers are like, taking advantage in terms of ROI in a very short time period, partly because our pricing model is very flexible and cost efficient. So basically,
Okay.
this is subscription based model,
Okay.
and some of detail in terms of pricing, yeah, of course, it depends on some the environment a little bit, and then the order of the volume.
Hmm.
But yeah, overall, it's still very cost efficient compared to any other technical solutions in the field. And yeah, again, the ROI, we are customers are meeting somewhere between 300 to 700% in a very short, like less than 6 months period.
Wow, those are huge numbers.
Hmm. Yeah, thank
Really,
you.
really big. And I think the audience is going to love to hear that.
Hmm.
You're going to get your phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
finally, then, what does the future hold for Motion 2AI and for the role of AI in the industry as we move forward?
Yeah, so as you can see, we have three core components, and then those core components are really focusing on extracting data and then provide the practical suggestions to the managers and the decision maker. However, all those products are built on top of our the core AI module for positioning, perception, and optimization. And these technologies are actually not just limited to those like consulting or insight discovery applications. So uh, we are actually very excited, and then we are planning many interesting products in the near future for other domain and for more different types of customer in logistics.
Fascinating. Well, we do talk about AI on the show, but we've talked to a lot of companies who have it as a part of their solution or use it heavily within data and forecasting. We really haven't had very many guests who really specialize wholly in AI and put it to work in the heart of operations. I've really seen a new perspective today, and I've enjoyed diving into this growing, complex, and sometimes misunderstood trend. I feel excited and I'm looking forward to seeing how the team at Motion2AI continues to drive these innovations forward into the future and into the future of supply chain. If you want to find out more, you can check them out over at motion ai.com. A massive thanks to Byungsoo for joining me today and to the team at Motion2AI for making this episode happen. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.